Okay. So first, let's start the missions. So I'm starting the server and client. Okay, so let me know, guys, what we have covered in the last session. What did we cover? Okay, so we covered the loops concept. We covered the variables concept, and we covered the vault concept. So from the interview perspective, vault concept is more important. And from the variables, what is Jinja templating can be a question. And vault, as I told you, this is super important from the DevOps perspective also. Now today, we'll try to do little more about the Ansible. And if time permits, we'll try to end up the Ansible today. So I gave you the project question. Did you guys do? So almost like 24 hours has been given so that you guys can try. So did you guys do, guys? Okay, Prithviraj seems to be tried. How about others? How about others, guys? No, no idea. Okay, so I got. Okay, Prithviraj gave me the code, entire code. So here is a question. So this is an answer. Mhm. So did you try it? Have you tried this on Ubuntu? Prithviraj? Is this Ubuntu code? So did you try it on the machine? Did it work? Okay. So let us give a try, guys. Let me open up the Ansible. Yeah, some part of the code it seems to be correct, but not everything. So we'll take the question and we'll start trying to write it. So we'll put the question here. So let's open up the Visual Code Studio. So always keep in mind when the task is given, you have to read the entire question or entire task and you need to rearrange them in a logical order. Then you have to start writing block by block. So that's the best, easiest technique to understand a task. Read the entire task, put them in an order logically, and then proceed with writing step by step. So first I want to install the Apache web server. So that's my target. So I'll start writing the code. So this is an example 11 on project.yml. So I'll say hyphen name. So this is a playbook on Ansible project post metric. I want to do it on client 1. Then task metric. But Prithviraj, I really appreciate. Reason is at least you have given a try. Most of the code is logic is right. Okay. We're not worried about the perfection. We are worried about the progress. Okay. So hyphen. The first task is, sorry, here we need to write. So name tag code to install Apache web server. So M module. I'll say name of the application is HTTPD and the action or is it state is present. That's it. First part is done. I will move on to the next part. So let's see. So I will say this is D. The next we need to start the Apache services. So code to start Apache services. So service module, name tag, HTTPD, and state is started. Is it started, guys? Please check if I'm writing anything incorrect because this is data sitting on my brain. Accordingly, I'm writing. So next, I feel this is also done. Next, I need to enable Apache web server at boot time. Okay, so code to enable Apache at boot time. So service, not, yeah, service tag only. So name of the service is HTTPD. Then state property. So here state, I don't know what to write. So I don't remember also. So what I'll do, always see guys, we don't remember anything, not to be by heart at all. Only thing is you need to know how to navigate to the documents and refer it and write it correctly. Service module Ansible. So that is at most important, referring to the documentation, and if you are capable enough to write, so you are good. So examples, what to put in there is stopped. This is restarted, reloaded. Okay, enabled is equal to S. So we'll say it is not state. We have to say enabled is equal to S. Yeah, we're done. Then next. So this is also done. So I want to create a log directory called so and so at /opt to track the installation of Apache. So at opt, I want this directory to be there. So I guess I can use code to create a directory at /opt. I can use file module at path /opt. The name of the directory should be Apache-logs. So I'll say Apache-logs. Then state is what I should write, guys, is it a touch or a directory? So quickly, it should be directory. Yes, then that part is also done. Then next we need to write the next code. So I'll say This also D. The next one, create a file called apache-logs.logs, apache-log.logs, and under the logs directory and write the message Apache is successfully installed. That means I need to have this file, okay, under this folder. So what I need to do, so code to create a file under logs directory. See, I'm trying to decode each line I'm trying to write, not trying to eat in a single go, correct? So we should eat step by step or write step by step. So I'll say this is file at path at /opt at apache-logs. I need to have a file called apache-log.logs file. apache-log.logs. Yep, done. Okay. Then state is equal to touch because I want to create a file. My part is done. So next one. So what is the next one? So this is also no, not yet. So in this, there are two logics are there. So this part is done. Now, then I need to write a message into that Apache successfully installed. So code to write a message into log file. So how I should write, I guess, line in file module. The next path. You can use copy or line in file module, but preferably line in file module is more workable one. Okay. So it entirely handles the file stuff. So I guess dest property you need to use here. So /opt/apache/-logs under that apache-log dot logs. This is a file where I need to write line. Am I right, guys? So what is the line I'm planning to write? So I'll say line Apache web server is successfully installed. So this is a message I'm planning to write. The next hyphen. So that line is also done. The next to the last part is write a HTML code to display a message on the screen that Ansible hyphen project or whatever you'll write some message. So on the web page. Now those who have the good knowledge on Apache. So if you're working with Apache web server, there is a path where you're supposed to display. Okay. So code to display a message on web page. How do you do that? Same, you need to use line in file module only. So dest, okay, at /opt/var /ww.index.html. So first of all, this file has to be created. It does not exist. Now go to create index.html file if does not exist. File module at the path at /var/ww/ what is that path? Index.html. Okay, HTML, then index.html. So I don't remember this path. I need to check on online. So Apache Apache file path for HTML files. Okay, slash word. Slash word. Therefore. WW only, not HTML. Okay. So okay, index.html. State is equal to touch. We created the file, and this part is to write the message. So what line you're trying to write? So I'll write I hope you guys know the minimal HTML, just an HTML code. So I'll say body tag. Okay, h1 head1 tag. I'll say this is a Ansible project for 31B. Then close my h1 tag. Then I close my body tag. Very basic I'm writing, I'm not going to advanced. Then slash HTML. Then close it. That's it. So this is what entirely roughly I guess 48 lines. So we have written based on the logic. -d. This is also done. So let's go ahead and save this. Why it will error? There is a red body tag. So you want to put it under body. Which one? You want to put it title, head. So let me try this. Not doesn't work, then we'll see. So updated commit sync. Then connect to the server. 192.168.1.200 root. Okay. So I got connected to the server now. So let me get into the project folder, cd into 31B. ls-l. Yeah, I'm in project folder, but yet to push. So we'll say git pull, and it will ask the ID. Then let me get that packed. Press enter. It's done. So I got my file here. See, example number 11 project. So what we'll do is Ansible -playbook example number 11 -i /etc/Ansible/host --, Syntax check. No errors. Then remove the syntax check and execute. Okay, why? Okay. So everything is positive, but let me go ahead and open up the browser and see if it is working or not. So 192.168.1.150 and press enter. Okay, connection timed out. That means firewall problem. So let me log in into this machine. Please write this command, guys. You need to disable the firewall. Service firewall stop. Let me try again. Then here in this index.html. Why it is not working? So 192.168.1.150 it is coming here, but okay. See, we made a mistake. It says you should add your website content to the directory under /var www.html. Okay, so we made a mistake here. Yeah. So again, we need to update here. www.html. This is also HTML/. So save this and updated commit. Yes. Sync. Okay. It's done. Then go ahead and what is this? Go ahead and do here pull. Git pull from and put the token and put it here. It's done. So you can see. Now same. Execute this. Re-execute. Okay. Now go to the site and try. Okay. So we got it. So this is an Ansible project for 31B. You understood, guys, how I done? Anuja, see, I didn't write too much of HTML coding, not required. So that's the work of developer. But for us, perspective, we are trying to experiment everything, right from web server to everything. So we see the purpose of this example of the project is to make you understand that whenever a task is given, you should not get panic. First of all, you need to have entire information of the task, read it, understand it, logically connect them, and step by step write it. Then things will work. Okay. Yeah. I want you to take down this code. Please write it almost like 48 lines of code. See, I written the code in very basic level so that you guys will understand. But the same code at my experience level, I can write this line of code in just 20 lines. Half of the things will go. But whenever you're writing, guys, as a learner, when you're writing, so keep the basics in mind and write it so that you'll reach to the destination correctly. Advanced level you should try only when you're expert in the subject. Okay, fine. So start from here, start writing the code and let me know when to scroll. So please start writing with your own hands into your books and let me know when to scroll the screen. So can I scroll? Okay, I guess you have to write from here. So please start writing from here. Okay, so let's move on. So please go ahead and do this, copy this. So is it done? Okay, nice. So let's move on to the next one. Okay. So we'll talk about concept called Ansible non-default inventory concept. Yeah. So this is a concept called Ansible non-default inventory concept. So what is this concept, guys? So what is this concept? So let me show you. So far you were using the default inventory file. You remember that whenever I was executing, see, I made all my client details went and sat in the host inventory file, correct? So that is nothing but your /etc/ansible/host. So this file is classified as default inventory file. Okay. So this is classified as default inventory file, right? However, at the project level also, you can go ahead and create inventory file. The project level also base. So that means whenever you write the client details into this file, we call this as default inventory file. But at project level also, you can create your own guys, your own inventory files. Okay. So this file will always sit in the project folder only. But this is common across like an all-in-one. This one is like an all-in-one. But this one, whenever you create your own inventory file at a project level, then such concept is called as non-default inventory file. Non-default inventory file. Show you an example so that you'll understand. So this is what. So why the use case of the non-default comes into the picture? Because when the project demands to have its own inventory file, so that is one use case. The second thing is non-default inventory file can be created on any location on Ansible server, but generally it is located on the project folder only. Okay. So whatever the rules that you used for declaring the default inventory file, the same rules are also followed for the non-default inventory file. So I'll show an example. So let's see. I'm creating one more file. So I know that I'm in the project folder only, so I'll create now. So I'll say example number 12, which is non-default. I'll not write any playbook. So I'll create a non-default dot YML. I'll just give the name as non-default YML. So here I need to declare my client details. So I'll say client 2. Okay. The same details I'll write Ansible underscore host is equal to 192.168.1.200 and Ansible underscore connection is equal to Ansible underscore host is equal to 192.168.1.200 and connection is equal to SSH and Ansible underscore port is equal to 22 and Ansible underscore user is equal to root and Ansible underscore SSH underscore pass is equal to this one. So once that is done, then only I'll press enter. So I declare the details here. I'll close this. Okay. Same thing. Like I written in that file, similarly I written, but I'm calling the configuration name as client2. Then I'll go ahead and commit this. I'll say added a non-default file. Click on commit. Okay. I'll sync the changes. Your focus is to understand how the non-default file is written, where it is written. Okay, it is done. Now go to the project and say git pull. Put that ID and put that password. And press enter. So file got created, lsfnl. So you see this file non-default inventory, right? Okay. So what I'll do is I'll use this file to execute any one of the client, right? So I'll use this machine present. So I'll want to open example number 9. And here instead of writing client 1, I want to execute this on client 2. Okay, see the information, how I'm updating. Client 2. So did I write anything wrong in this file? Okay, I've written incorrect. So just hold on, guys. So our IP was incorrect. This is 150. That is our client. And also here also I'll update. So this is also 2. I want to experiment on this example number 9. So I'll click on save. And I'll say updated. Date some more details are incorrect. Save and commit all. Then sync. Then say git pull. Provide the ID and also the password. Paste. So it is done. So written by merge as a please commit your okay, here are some more changes are there. So 1 second, guys, somewhat messed up here. So git status. Okay. So okay, it is nice. So what we'll do now, clear the screen. Now let's go ahead and try it. Now understand, guys. You see the file. So this is a non-default file, and this is what I want to experiment. See how I'll experiment. Ansible hyphen playbook. Example number 9. I want to execute with this file now. So under root account, under that Ansible project. No, I guess 31B repo name. Under that, there is a file called non-default, right? Hyphen syntax check. Are you understanding, guys, what is happening? This time I'm not routing to that default inventory file, which is a standard one. So I'm saying to the computer that you have to use only this file. So this file is nothing but this, where we mentioned already the client 2 details. Client 2 is nothing but our client 1 only. I'm using the same machine for 2 configurations. In the default, I was calling that as a client 1. And in this file, I'm calling that guy as a client 2. So just only the referencing names are different. So everything is good. See, it is executing. So this is an understanding of default and non-default concept. So generally in the projects, it depends, guys. So if the project wants to keep very unique, then they will maintain or create non-default inventory. If the project is generic in nature, where it is ready to share all the details with the other client, then they will use a default inventory file. So you should be aware of both default inventory file and non-default inventory file. Am I clear, Sushmita? Atif, Ranga, Divya, Kirti, Shravya, Mayuri? Yeah, nice. So whenever you get the request to create non-default, create it. Whenever you get the request to create default, you use it. It's up to you whether you go with the default or non-default. So based on the demand, we do it. So please take down this concept quickly. So create the non-default. Write these points, guys, quickly into your notes. In short, please try to write. Confirm, guys, can you hear me? Okay. Okay, fine. So what I was trying to tell you is, like, we have a concept called ad hoc commands. So this concept you need to apply when the task is simple and it is not repetitive and it is a one-time activity, does not require automation, and the frequency of use case is very low. That means I told you one-time activity, correct? For such use cases, we don't write any playbook. So playbook is generally not required. For some small use cases, you can try out the ad hoc commands. So the documentation is available here. So that is what I opened up. Okay. And this is the format of the syntax. This is a format. Example number 1. So if you pick up this example number 1, or you can try this. Okay. Or you can copy this. First, let's see here some examples. So let's say I went into the packaging. Now you tell me, guys, if I copy this example from here, and you have to tell me what is this trying to do. Because you have little knowledge of Ansible now, you tell me this command, whatever I highlighted, what it is trying to do. Just a guess only. Anyway, I'll explain, but just a guess so that I'll do correction in your knowledge now. So by looking at the command, you should be in a position to guess what it is trying to do. It is trying to install an application called Acme, correct? Simple, guys. See, he was calling a module, -m is used to call a module. See, calling a module. See, this is a module. M module he is calling. And he is using the attributes or properties, we say, correct? Here using -a to call the attributes. What attribute? Attribute name is Acme, name attribute, and is feeding the application name. And he's saying the state is present. Now, where he wants to get this done, he wants to get this on the client machines called web servers. But in our use case, the same example I can replace. See, on my client 1, okay, on my client 1, application called Git should be removed. So what I will say, absent. Make sense? I just copied the example from there and I done it. So for such a smaller thing, for a very small thing, it is not required to write a playbook, guys. Got it? So let's now go to the client first of all and check if we have the Git version. You see, Git is not there. So we'll do one thing. We'll utilize the same command to install the Git. Okay. So we'll say now present. Instead of absent, we'll say present and then execute. See how to execute. Just copy this and put it here. I did not write any playbook, guys. I didn't go into Visual Code Studio. Directly I'm pasting it here. And did I attach the inventory file? Tell me, guys. Client 1 details are mentioned in which? Are they mentioned in the default inventory file or they mentioned in the non-default inventory file? You have to tell me. Client 1 details are mentioned in the default or non-default? In the default. Correct? So I need to attach now. Slash it. That is the reason we have to use -i. Slash etc slash ansible slash host. Okay. Press enter. See what happens. It is tries to reach out to the client 1 machine and does the magic of installing the Git. The work is over. Okay. Now go back to the client and ask. You say the Git is installed. Clear? Yeah. So such a small things, very small things, not required to write a playbook. That's the reason we have the head of commands. Now I'll do one more example, one last example. The same command, can I try on client 2? And this time, can I remove this absent? Absent na? Git is already installed, we know it. Now this time I'm calling the client 2. So where are the details of the client 2 mentioned in which file? Tell me guys, where is that file? Is it default or non-default? It is a non-default. So I have to call that file now. You understood now how I am calling appropriately? Clear? Ansible client 2. The same example Git. This time I want to remove. Earlier use case I tried to install. Now I am removing. For smaller use case, I'm not writing any playbook. Directly I'll apply. So it says it's done. Now go back to the server and ask Git, are you there? So it's not there. No such file or directory. Clear on this example? Now keep in mind, as I told you already, that 80% of the use cases in the real time, we use the playbook only. But these are smaller use cases where playbook writing is not required. If the use case is super small, one-time activity, non-repetitive, then make the best use of the head of commands and get your work done. Clear? Okay. Now, one knowledge here. I want to update. So let me write it here after this so that it is important for your knowledge also. So difference between default and non-default inventory files, guys. So point number 1 here is that default inventory file. Okay. So default inventory file which we are trying to attach is an optional. Is an optional, guys. But non-default inventory is a mandatory. So how do you prove this? So this is where the story lies. This is very technical question for experienced people generally. So default inventory file is an optional. You can optional when we are. This is an optional at the time of what case? So I'll write use case. So the use case is, I'm talking about at the time of execution. At the time of execution of playbook, PB. So use cases at the time of execution of the playbook, the default inventory is an optional and non-default inventory is a mandatory. So I'll do an exercise on it. Just observe how I'm doing. Okay. So let's see the exercise. So what we'll do? So we'll do a default exercise and one more is non-default exercise. So let's do it. So observe on the screen, guys, how I'm doing. Clear the screen. I'll increase the font. So can I pick up example? What is the one just we written? Okay. Can I pick up example number 1 to experiment the subject? I'm using example number 1, guys. Okay, just see. Ansible, first of all, I want to see what is there inside so that I'll know what will happen. So, okay, this is also same story. It is install a removal of Git, right? First of all, I want to see what's there on the client. Currently on the client, Git is not there. Okay, that's fine. So what we'll do is we'll wantedly install on client. Wait, hold on. We'll wantedly do it here. Then we'll try that program. Make sense? We wantedly install on the client, guys. See, it's there. Now we'll go to the program. So let's try this. So if you execute this program, what should happen? Tell me, guys, if you execute this program, what we are expecting? What we are expecting? Git will be removed, correct? Yeah, that is an expectation. And I'm not attaching the inventory file. So in this file, which machine is being asked or consumed? In the example number 1, which machine I'm trying, guys? It's a client 1, correct? So client 1 details are mentioned in which file? Is it a default or non-default? It's a default, right? So I'm not attaching -i now. I'll not attach at all. Still your execution will work. So the moral story is still you saw it, till it got executed. And go ahead and check on the client. It's gone. So the moral story is whenever you mention the client details in the default inventory, at the time of execution of the playbook, okay, at the time of execution of the playbook, attaching of the inventory file, default inventory file is not mandatory. It's an optional only. Am I clear on this experimentation? Yeah, I repeat once again. Whenever you mention the client details in the default inventory files and you are executing a playbook referring to that machine name of default inventory, then attaching of default inventory file is not required, or we can say it's an optional only. But as a industry practice, guys, I recommend you to attach it always. Industry practices will attach. Even without attaching, it will work. Now let's talk about non-default inventory. So I guess this example number 9 is a perfect example for, let's try it. You see this here, we are consuming client number 2. Okay. Now see what happens. So where is the client number 2 is mentioned? Is it in default or non-default? It is in non-default, right? I am not attaching the inventory file wantedly to check whether it works or not. Okay. Because I know that the machine that is used in this playbook referring to the non-default inventory file. So I'm not attaching it. It will fail. You saw? Because whatever the client 2 that you mentioned, it is in the non-default. That means whenever you're executing a playbook which refers the machine names of a non-default inventory, it is mandatory for you to attach that file. Clear? Understood? Then it will run. Correct now? So this is a classic example to make you understand what is the difference between default inventory file and non-default inventory. Okay. Yeah. Take down this understanding quickly, guys, into your books. Please take down quickly. So is it done? Okay, nice. Now we have some more 15 to 20 minutes concept is there. So let's not do any hurry things now. So what we'll do is we'll spend 15 to 20 minutes on Monday. Then we'll move on to the new chapter, Docker. Got it? So we'll move on to the Docker, guys. We'll do the Docker, we'll do the Kubernetes, then we'll do the Chef. Clear? So I repeat, on Monday, we'll end up more 15 minutes I require to end up the Ansible. So once we'll end up the Ansible on Monday, we'll move on with the Docker's understanding. Docker starts with containerization. So we'll see what is containers, what is VM architectures. Then we'll go with the Docker stuff. So more I require roughly 3 weeks of time. So what is your standard 10 weeks now? So where are we? First of all, let me copy the notes. Sometimes I'm forgetting. Okay, it started on 15 December. So we consider 10 weeks. You need to count from this date, guys. So we kept exactly 8 weeks or what? So 10 weeks of time. Course started on 27. So it is 8. Then 8 weeks means when? So more I need to add here. 2 weeks now. 14. 14 days plus 7 because we got holiday. 5 days institute was down. So that is extra added here. So for this Feb, you need to add roughly, I would say, for 11th. Officially, it should end on March 11th. 2 weeks more. Okay. So I guess it's 23rd, 2nd, and 9th. It should end. Sorry, miscalculated. So 9th March plus 7. 7 days because extra. The reason is we calculated reason 5 days was institute holiday. So we're expecting anywhere around, to my knowledge, we will be closing by 18th. So we'll be closing our course by 18th, guys, 100%. So next week we'll spend time on Docker and Kubernetes. Once it is done, then we'll move on with Chef. It requires 3 to 4 days of time. Then we have Vagrant, Nagios, and one resume session. Okay, tips session. That's it. So roughly this is the time frame. Nagios and Vagrant are there. Yeah, it's a part of your syllabus only. Okay, so that's all for the day, but let me put the notes. So we'll catch up tomorrow as usual, guys. Not tomorrow. Got it? So tomorrow is a Sunday, we know it. So we don't sit for a class, but we'll come back on Monday. So when is the Holy, guys? Is it on 7th? Okay. Okay. Why different numbers are coming? 7, 8, 9. So Holy on 23. It's on 8th March, it seems. It means on Wednesday. Okay.